Hello and welcome to a tutorial from AKCP. Today we're going to be having a look at the security server. In particular, we're going to be having a look at the user interface, and we're also going to have a look at adding devices to security server to make them viewable. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So as you can see, I've already opened up security server, and you can see that we are presented with four main windows. We have our huge desktop window here, we have a workspace window, a server explorer window, and a help window. So the first thing that we're going to have a look at is we're going to have a look at the Server Explorer window. Now what this window is, this is where all your devices are listed once you've added your device to security server, and it displays all the information. So let's go ahead and we'll add a device so we can see what that looks like. What we need to do is we need to go to Add AKCP Device, or I would just point out at this point as well, you can actually also do it by going to Options in the Server Explorer bar and clicking Add AKCP Device. Once we have done that, we need to add our device. So we type our IP, which in this case is 10.1.5.89, and we also need to type in our password. There we go, and click OK. And as you can see, it's searched for the device, and the device has now been shown in the active devices list in the Server Explorer window. And if we click the little plus arrow next to the device, we get our board, and we can go down and we can see all the different ports that are attached to that device on that particular IP. Now, if you have cameras attached to this particular device, you can see that we have a cameras tab. By clicking this, and again clicking down the plus arrow, you can see that cameras will be listed. We have obviously cameras listed right here. We have graphs. Again, we can click down and we can choose what graph we want to show from our motion detectors or humidity temperature. So we have a big list of things that we can go through. Also, if we wanted to have maps, we have something here where we can add and view maps. Now, you've probably noticed that as I've been clicking around in the Server Explorer window, that the bottom help window has been changing. Now that's because every time I click on something in the window, it's going to give you a description of what that particular tab does. So you've got something in the bottom here which walks you all the way through the program, which tells you exactly what each tab or option does. So if we click on cameras, we can see here it says this tab shows all the available cameras connected to the client. Users can drag the cameras to a desktop or a playback window to create a new panel. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and we'll start dragging some sensors and cameras onto the desktop so we can see what it looks like. So we'll scroll down from the list here. We'll go into the internal RJ45, which is the main board from our device, and let's go ahead and click on temperature port 1, and we'll click that and we'll drag it onto the desktop. Now here we have our reading from that particular intelligent sensor port, which is temperature port 1. We have a reading of 33 degrees, and it's currently on high warning. Now if you wanted to drag other sensors out, like a humidity on port 6, maybe a video, you can see that the window would soon start to get cluttered very quickly with all the different information that you could bring out from here. After all, if we brought every single one of these sensors into this main window, into the desktop window, it would become very, very busy. So what we need to do is we need to organize that desktop. So let's just get rid of these off the main desktop window, and let's just go to the desktop. Now at the moment you can see we have one desktop which is with this tab right here, and it's named desktop number 1. Now let's just first of all let's rename that. So we'll right click, go to rename, and now we can rename the desktop, and let's rename this temperature. Oops. Missed the T off there. There we go. Let's name this temperature sensors. Okay, so now you can see that we now have a desktop named temperature sensors, where we could drag all of our temperature sensors onto. Now if we want to look at our humidity sensors, maybe what we would like to do is create a new desktop. So let's go ahead and do that now, and go to Add, Desktop. Now we have a new tab which has been replaced, and it's now named desktop number 1, and we can rename this desktop exactly the same as we did before. Go down to rename by right clicking, and then we'll rename this humidity sensors, and then click off it. So now we have two desktops. Now on the humidity sensors, we can go into our humidity sensors here, and we can start dragging some of these humidity sensors onto our desktop. And you can see that if we go back to our temperature sensors desktop, we have a brand new desktop, and we can then start going in and clicking. Let's bring all of our temperature sensors onto here. There you go. So now we have two desktops with multiple information from the same device. So you can see that it makes it a lot easier to organize your information on your desktop windows. So we'll clean this window up, and we'll also clean this window up a little bit here as well. Now let's go to the graphs in the Server Explorer window. Now let's say we want to have a look at some graphing information from our devices, our sensors on our device here. So let's go ahead, and to view this information we could drag one of these onto our temperature sensor tab, but let's not do that. Let's go ahead and we'll keep it organized, and we'll create a new desktop, and we'll name it graphs. So once again, add desktop, then we will right click on desktop number 1, rename, and we'll name this graphs. Okay, so now we have our new tab which has appeared in our desktop window named graphs, and let's bring on temperature port number 1, loads, and now we have our graphing information. Now as you can see at the moment, there isn't really any information to display because we've only just dragged the graph onto the window. But by clicking in the options tab, you can actually go to graph settings, and in here you can select the time range. So you can graph over the last day, last 2 days, last hour. You can really choose whichever you want. So let's go to last hour, and we have a refresh period of every 1 minute. We have live data selected, and that's pretty good for now, so we'll go ahead and we'll click OK. Okay, so now you can see that we have some graphs starting to show, and obviously as the minutes and hours tick by, the graph will get longer and longer, and we'll get a bigger readout in the graphing interface. So that's how you add a graph. The next one that we have is cameras, and you can see that if we click on cameras here, here's all the cameras listed. Now before I go into the cameras, this is going to be covered in a much greater depth in a later tutorial. Now to view the cameras, we could go in again, we can select add another desktop. We will rename that desktop, we'll name it cameras, and in the cameras we could now select our camera, and we can go to view live video, and we can bring it in, and here we have a nice video window. Now also what I want to show you here is you'll notice that I click the little plus arrow, and when I click the plus arrow we get view live video, we get the motion detector and everything like that. Now I clicked view live video, and I dragged the view live video into this main desktop window, and what we get when we do that is we get one window which displays an image, a camera image. However, if we actually select V2 and we drag the whole V2 over, you can see that instantly we have two boxes that appear. Now this shows not only the camera feed, but it also shows the motion detector status and the policies that have been set up with that camera. So you can select either just the image or you can select the information with the image. Once you've got your video window in here, you can just drag the corner and you can make the image a lot bigger. Very, very nice. And you can see that now we've really started to organize it very, very well. We have cameras, we have our graphs, we have our humidity sensors, temperature sensors, and it's a nice, easy workflow. So that's the basic interface. You can see with the workspace window we have all of our different desktops listed, and by clicking on these plus arrows we can show you exactly what you have on each desktop. So it's a really nice window here to see your organizational skills put into practice. So that's basically the interface for the security server. I hope you found this helpful, and check back for more tutorials coming soon.